Okay, so we've already seen the age-old definition of averages, which is the sum of all the values and divided by the number of values of which the average is to be calculated, right? So let us take an example of some numbers of which we'll calculate the averages. Let us say the numbers are 51, 52, 48, 40, 62, and I want to calculate the average of all these numbers. So if I apply this particular formula, what I can do is I can just take the sum of all these numbers, which is 51 plus 52 plus 48 plus 40 plus 62. And then I can divide it by the number of values, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which will give me some value. And we can see that from an exam point of view, this will not only take a lot of time, but also has a very high chance of making a calculation mistake, right? So let us discuss a new method today, which will reduce your time and save you a lot of time for the other questions, which are not as easy, right? So let us discuss about the deviation method. So in this deviation method, what we can do is that I can take any base value. I can just calculate the average by taking a base value, and that base value can be any number close to all these numbers, right? So as I know that the average is going to lie between the smallest value in this range, which is 40 over here, and the largest value in this range, which is 62. So I know that my average is going to lie between 40 and 62. So let me take any value between 40 and 62. So let that value be 50. Okay, so 50 is my base value. And then what I'll do is I'll just add it to a bunch of values. I'll calculate the difference between all these values and 50. So the difference between 51 and 50 is 1, plus difference between 52 and 50, that is 2. Then difference between 48 and 50 is minus 2. Difference between 40 and 50 is minus 10. And difference between 62 and 50 is plus 12. And then I can divide just these small numbers with the number of terms, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which gives me 50 plus the sum of these terms is 3 by 5. That makes my average 50 plus 3 by 5 is 0.6. So the average becomes 50.6. So not only did I save a lot of time in calculating this, because all these bulky numbers have now reduced to these small numbers, right? But I've also reduced the chances of making a calculation error, right? Any doubts about this? Okay, Shweta, you are raising your hand. Do you have any doubts?
Yes, ma'am. Can you show using an example if the same can be done with larger numbers also?
Sure. So let us take some large numbers. Let us take an example of some big numbers, and let me take 4-digit numbers. Let us take the numbers as 1093. Then we can take 1103. We can take 1109. We can take 1089. And we can take 1096. Okay. So let me take an example with this and calculate the average. So if you follow the age-old practice of calculating the average, that will give you average equal to 1093 plus 1103 plus 1109 plus 1089 plus 1096. And then I can divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it'll give me a very bulky number, and also waste a lot of precious time in that exam, right? So by calculating using deviation method, what I can easily do is that I can calculate the average by choosing a base value, which has to be somewhere between the lowest value in this, which is 1089, and the highest value in this, which is 1109. So I can take my base value as maybe 1100. That will make my calculation easier, right? So 1100 plus, I can calculate the difference between 1100 and 1093, which is minus 7. Then 1100 and 1103, which is plus 3. Then 1100 and 1109, which is plus 9. Then 1100 and 1089, which is minus 11. And 1100 and 1096, which is minus 4. And I can divide this sum with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This gives me 1100 plus negative 2 by, sorry, negative 10 by 5. That gives me 1100 minus 2. So my average becomes 1098. So you can see that how easily we have jot down these bulky numbers into such small numbers, made the calculation really easy, and at the same time reduced the time for calculating this average and saved time for other questions. So anybody has any doubts about this? Rahul, you're raising your hand. Do you have any question?
Ma'am, what is the name of this method?
Okay, the name of this method is deviation method. Let me write it down over here. It is deviation method for calculating the averages. Okay,